Hey, welcome. Miss Jones, I hope you're having a great day. I just needed to talk to you today about little Johnny's behavior. Oh my gosh, hey, that's so great. You have the best after school programs and summer camps ever. We totally love you guys. Yeah, what's going on with little Johnny? Yeah, so thanks for asking. Well, he got into a little bit of trouble today. I know that we've had some concerns. We've talked with you in the past. There's been a few write-ups that we've done in the past, and but he actually earned a few more today. Really, interesting, because he's so well behaved at school. All of his teachers say that he's absolutely incredible. First off, he had trouble keeping his hands to himself. He did a flying sidekick and kicked a child in the chest. Interesting. So what you're saying is he can't practice his karate? So what kind of after school program is this? Because we signed him up for karate. He also took a handful of Legos and tried to make a little boy eat them. This one's interesting. He actually brought a real snake to school today and tried to get it to bite kids at the after school program. Yeah, no, there's no way he did that. Oh, he did. And then the final straw, and I'll quote here, he locked a little boy in the bathroom and said, "I will make you smell my number two for an entire year, so every day for 365 days you will remember me." Well, I clearly don't believe anything you're saying. You are the owner of the worst after school program ever, and all of your coaches are horrible. I don't believe anything that you said. It's all on camera. Hey, what's going on, Mass family? This is Dwayne Spires, your summer camp and after-school program expert with the Martial Arts Success Team. On today's Mindset Monday, we're talking about dismissals. What do we do when we have a kid in our after-school program, our summer camp, or our evening martial arts class that is just out of control? They're breaking rules. They're causing other kids to hate the program. What do we do with those kids? So if you want these answers and much more, you have come to the right place. All right, one of the things that is important to know before we get into actually talking about how to dismiss students is how can you avoid dismissals before they actually happen? So take a look at this. When you have a parent come in. Now, these are red flags. So when you have a parent that comes in and is interested in your program, maybe they call you, they send you a message on Facebook, or they just come in unexpected. If you hear them talk negatively about their former program, about the staff or the owners, that's a red flag. So let me give you an example. If you have someone who comes into your program and expresses their concerns about their previous program, but they do it in a respectful way, that's fine. But if you have somebody that comes in bashing the place that they were just at, that is a red flag. That's going to tell you, wait a minute, it might not be the program, it might be the customer. So just keep that in mind. The second thing that you want to keep an eye on is if the parent admits to their child being kicked out or dismissed or expelled from another program. So one of the things to remember in the mass system, in our coaching program for the after-school success course, especially during the after-school year, if you have a parent that wants to switch into your program, which happens all the time, if they do it because they were kicked out of somewhere else, it's vital that they do the 1-week free trial. Because this isn't just a free trial for them to determine if they like your program. This is in reality a free trial for you so you can determine if that child and family is a good fit for your culture, right? So this leads me to my third point here. If they have an eagerness to start right now, or they're just really insisting on paying right now in full, you got to keep an eye on that. You'll have parents that have been kicked out of the YMCA or kicked out of a child care facility or, a school-sponsored program or whatnot, and they know that they need care tomorrow. They want to appear like they're the best thing ever, so they're like, "Oh, don't worry about your free trial. We'll just pay you now. We're ready to sign up now." So keep an eye on that. We've been burnt a couple times in the past by allowing those kids just to come in and sign up instantly without really doing the trial, and it's backfired every single time. So just keep in mind that you have to go through the process, do the 1-week free trial, and save yourself and your staff a lot of stress. Okay, so the next section here, let's talk about why write-ups are absolutely vital. You're going to see the sign here in the middle. It says last chance. So write-ups, which by the way, we have a template in the after school program success course. So if you're a coaching member, you'll have access to that. If you're an Inner Circle member and you're interested in enrolling in one of our coaching programs, let us know. You'll have access to those documents. But one thing that I want to say is you have to write up the students for their bad behavior. So let's identify right now some of the things that kids do that will warrant a write-up versus things that they do that won't warrant a write-up, because we get asked this a lot by our coaching members. So if you have a kid that is just not standing in line correctly, they don't need to be written up. If you notice that that same child is constantly disrupting a class and then you go to sit them out, and then while they're being sat out, they're still trying to disrupt the class, or they're getting up from the chair that you asked them to sit in, and they're just completely being disrespectful, well, at that point, they're going to be sent to your director, or if you are an owner director, they're going to be sent to you, and you need to have a conversation. And if they don't fix their behavior, then that elicits a write-up, right? So we're going to talk about that and how to handle that in just a moment. But keep in mind, there are going to be kids that need reminders throughout the week on how to improve their behavior. And that's why we teach the culture of we are the best. So when you and your coaches walk into a classroom, or when they see the children for the first time in the day, you need to have your welcome announcements. You need to make sure that you're going over the expectations and the rules, and then acknowledge the kids that are doing things the right way. Always find kids doing the right thing. I want you to write that down, okay? So when you walk into a room and you ask the kids to stand at attention position, or if you ask the kids to clap once if they can hear you, clap twice if they can hear you, you want to acknowledge a handful of kids that are the early adopters. They're the best listeners, right? So you want to be like, hey, Sarah, Ethan, Aiden, great job. Everybody clap for those kids. They were the fastest at standing in attention position, or they were the fastest at sitting like a black belt, right? So you want to acknowledge those kids. But going back to the conversation about write-ups, when a child is deliberately disrespectful, you have to write them up. And it's important to do so, not only because it's the right thing to maintain the integrity of your program and to maintain that culture, but also from a liability perspective. So if you have a child who gets written up once, the parent signs it, they get written up a second time, the parent signs it. By the second time, that piece of paper says that the third write-up can result in a dismissal from this program. So when it does happen again for the third time, which, by the way, a masked pro tip, some kids get written up more than once in one day. So keep that in mind. Write that down. But anyways, so when you have kids that get written up and it is time for that dismissal, you have a paper trail of all of the steps that you took to show that the kid is getting dismissed because of his or her behavior, and that you've tried to help them with their behavior, and then they continue to have negative behavior repeatedly. This will give you peace of mind in knowing that if you ever do dismiss somebody and they make any false allegations, you dismissed my child because of the color of his skin, or you dismissed us because of our religious beliefs, or you dismissed us because of our, the kid has 2 moms or 2 dads and the sexual orientation, you have to make sure that you can go, no, that's absolutely not true. We dismissed this child because of this incident that you signed off on, as well as this one, and 3 strikes and you're out, just like it's written in our handbook, which, by the way, I believe the handbook module is module 2 or 3 in the after school program success course. There's 36 policies and procedures in there. Make sure that you guys have your parents sign off on those handbooks. Okay, so now that we know why they're vital, this is what we encounter when we coach school owners across North America. You have the amateur mindset. So if this is you, I want you to consider that there's another way of looking at the dismissal process, which we're going to talk about in a second. So the amateurs, the mom and pops, these are the people instead of dismissing a student who is chaotic and causing a negative experience for the rest of their kids, they will hold on to that problematic child for so long because I'm afraid to lose money. That's horrible. Not all money is good, my friends. So if you ever find yourself saying, oh, I can't lose this one student, then that means you're not marketing enough and you're not focused on sales enough. If you lose a student, you can replace them with our system very quickly, and in many times it's within days. The next thing that amateurs say, well, I have to dismiss a kid, so that means my program must not be good. No, this does not have a reflection on your program. This has a reflection on the child's situation at home, how he's being handled from his parents or her parents. Don't internalize this. The amateurs internalize it. They overstress about it. No, this is a numbers game. Lauren and I would have to dismiss about 5 kids per year at each location. So out of 200 kids, about 10 total, which is about 5%. So if you have a program with 30 kids or 50 kids, you might have to dismiss 1 or 2 kids a year. Don't let this stress you out. It's part of doing business. So don't ever internalize it. The third thing, do not blame your staff. Do not be the business owner or the director that's like, oh my gosh, my staff aren't good because, little Johnny, he tried to make a kid eat Legos, or he brought a snake to the after-school program and tried to bite people with it. That was a pretty funny intro. So anyways, don't blame your staff. Now, if you have, just complaints left and right, and you walk into a classroom and your staff members have no classroom management skills, that actually falls back on you as the owner or director, because you need to be able to train them on how to do their job at the highest level. Here's what the pros say. Massed coaching members are either professionals already or they're becoming pro, so this is where you need to be. You're going to say to yourself, I will dismiss the student that's causing trouble because I'm protecting 99 of my other students. I have a commitment to them that their experience in this after-school program, this summer camp, this evening martial art class is amazing. It's excellent. So I'm protecting my other students. You can't defend one kid and have a negative experience for the other 99. The amateurs mess that all up. You, however, you're protecting all of your students. You're also proving that you are the best. This is the massed culture. You're the number one person. You are the best. You have the best program, the best kids, the best coaches, the best systems, everything. If you allow that one student to stay because you're afraid of losing a little bit of money for that tuition, your mindset's off. You need to let them go. You need to prove that you're the best, because guess what that does? It solidifies your culture. The students, they realize that they might actually get kicked out if they're not the best. The other parents that find out about it, they have a higher level of respect for your program for getting rid of the kid that was causing a negative experience for their child. Your staff members, this is vital. If you have an hourly staff member that comes into work and they're bombarded with negativity all day long, they have to essentially babysit this one problematic kid over and over, the kid's not listening to them, and you as the owner don't have their back, they're going to quit. So if you're noticing that you have a high level of turnover for your staff, you need to get more involved on the level of leadership. You need to ask for their opinions, their 1% improvements during your staff trainings. We teach that in the course as well. Make sure you guys watch the hiring and training modules. When you do your weekly trainings, you have to give the staff members the microphone and say, hey, listen, what can we do to make your job better? Let them come to you and express their concerns or their frustrations if they have a problematic child in their classroom. You might be able to remedy the situation, give them some class management skills, and boom, things are fine. Sometimes you got to dismiss the kid. All right, so let's talk about dismissals made easy. I want you to take notes on this. The first thing, write this down. 3 strikes and the student is out. There's exceptions to every rule. If you have a kid who's under the age of 8, usually it's like kindergarten, first or second, you may be able to be a little bit more lenient on some of the infractions. because they're still learning how to be successful and learning how to be a good listener. But if you have a kid that's above the age of 8, a lot of times that type of behavior warrants them to be written up and to ultimately be dismissed. Okay, now, zero tolerance policy. This includes bullying, this includes theft, this includes hitting. Now notice here I put 3rd and up. So again, if you have these kids that are above 3rd grade, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and they're stealing stuff, they're hitting, one thing you can add to this list is profanity or negative content. You know, if they go and they start talking about things that kindergarteners shouldn't be talking about, you got to be careful, because what happens, and we've seen this with other schools, is that they allow the problematic child to stay so long that it adversely affects the culture. So if you're losing students, if you're noticing that your referrals went way down, look inwardly at your own culture. Take responsibility as the owner that it is on your shoulders to craft a culture of being the best. Got to get rid of those kids. Number 3, write up every offense, and the parents must sign it. We've been asked before from coaching members if, what should we do if a parent refuses to sign the write-up? For us, we've written up hundreds of kids over the years. We've had just a handful that refuse to sign the write-up, and it's not like they're signing some weird legal document. They're just signing to acknowledge that you had a conversation with them about their child's behavior. So if they're not willing to acknowledge that, because your heart's coming from the right place, like you're genuinely and authentically wanting to help that child, you're giving that child a second or a third chance, right? And you want to see that child become successful. So if the parents aren't on board with that, they don't deserve to be in your program. They can go down the street to the YMCA and Boys and Girls Club and all the other places. Number 4, you want to speak privately to the parent. Now, obviously, at the beginning of this video, you were able to see my incredible acting skills. One thing that's interesting about parents is when you bring up their child's behavior in a way that might come across negatively, sometimes they don't act as planned. Sometimes parents are weird and they freak out because they unfortunately internalize their child's behavior sometimes. They look at their child's write-up as their own failure as a parent. So sometimes they get, a little bit offensive. Like they're like, they'll say things that aren't necessarily nice. They'll say that your program's not good. We've had that happen to us, and we just smile and nod our head and say, okay, thanks. We're sorry that it didn't work out, and we wish you the best, right? So you want to speak privately to them when they come into your lobby. Or if you literally have to send a child home halfway through the day, when the parent shows up, you have to remember they're going to be frustrated. They're mad because they had to leave work. They may or may not be mad at you or their child, but they're going to be in a negative state. It's easy to assume that, right? So don't let it stress you out, right? We talk about that pro tip. Don't internalize it. Don't create stories. Don't let your little voice syndrome tell you that your program's not good. Just treat them with respect and dismiss their child. But you want to do it privately. You certainly do not want to do that when your lobby is packed with parents picking up, 10 different kids. If that's the case, call up one of your coaches or call up your assistant director. Have them monitor the pickup time, and then you go into a separate room or office to speak privately one-on-one with that parent. Okay, number 5. This one is vital. Specifically, the steps that I'm going to introduce to you. Once you know that you are about to dismiss a child, before you even say anything to mom or dad about it, you have to block the parents from social media. This prevents them from going on and bad-mouthing you, leaving a negative review. It just prevents all that. This, I held up this mock list or this stack of write-ups, right? You could have 100 write-ups and have all these conversations and give their kid, a million last chances. But the moment that you dismiss them, you never know if that parent is all of a sudden going to go from being your best friend and your biggest fan to being your worst enemy and trying to tarnish your reputation online. So block them from social media. Then refund their money for the week. I don't care if today is Friday. Just refund it for the week, because what it does is it takes the edge off of that bad news that you're about to deliver to them. Because when you say, look, unfortunately, little Johnny's not going to be able to come here any longer. Listen, we've already refunded your money for this week, so that way you can apply the money to the new program that you're going to choose. And if you really want to be a rock star, you hand them a piece of paper with 3 of your competitors. Pick the competitors that you don't care for too much, and send that child to them. Okay. Then you dismiss the child, and then you replace the child. So again, that last one there, replace. All of our Rockstar members, our coaching members, they know that it's possible to instantly replace that child, especially for the ones that have waiting lists. Call the next person up on the waiting list. Hey, great job. Or I'm sorry, not great job. Hey, congrats. We have good news. We had a spot open up. You're the first person we've contacted. Would you like to start on Monday? And usually they say yes. And if they don't, then go to the next person on your waiting list. And if you don't have a waiting list, then continue to implement all of the marketing strategies that are in our course, and you will do extremely well. Okay, lastly, relax, have fun, don't stress out. One of the amateur mindsets is these amateur martial arts school owners. And when I say amateur, I don't care if you've owned your school for 20 years, you can still be an amateur with your business mindset. An amateur mindset is when a business owner identifies him or herself with the business as if the business is part of their actual identity. You are not your business, okay? You and your business are 2 separate things. Your business is a organization. It's a place for people to congregate. It's a staff. It is students. It's not you. You as a person, you as an entrepreneur, your value is still high. For example, you can have 1,000 5-star reviews. We've seen this happen so many times where our members get all of these awesome reviews, and then the first review that they get that's not a 5-star review, they're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. My program is falling apart. Do I have the right, they freak out on their coaching calls. And it's like, no. It's an isolated event. Let's learn what we can from this situation and let's improve on it. But at the end of the day, the pros are like, whatever. I can't please everybody. I can't make everybody happy. Never try to make everyone happy. You want to try to have integrity at all times. Do what you say you're going to do. Overserve. Try your best. And it's up to them if they like it or not. And look, here's the thing. Don't ever get on a coaching call with me and Lauren and say that, I have to dismiss this kid, but they have nowhere to go. Do not believe that, because parents are notorious for saying that. They try to give you a guilt trip. Oh, just give him one more chance. I promise he won't do a flying side kick and kick any more kids in the chest. Sorry, it's not a good fit. Well, we don't have anywhere to go. Yes, you do. Here's a list of our top 3 recommendations for you. Give them a call, right? So go forward from this video. Say to yourself, I'm going to maintain my culture. I'm going to make it the best at all times. I will dismiss the kids who are jeopardizing the culture and the experience for the rest of my students. And go be a rock star and crush it. And if you have any questions, let us know. We're always happy to help. And this is going to be the best year you've ever had in your business. And then next year is going to be the best year. So keep moving forward, keep taking action, maintain that culture, and keep growing. Hope you enjoyed this Mindset Monday. Once again, my name is Dwayne Spires, and I will see you on the next one.